10 seconds before the gate drops. There it goes. They're off. Round 4, and a rider is down less than 3 or 4 foot from the starting gate. Now, that's a rough way to start. But Matasevich looked like he pulled. Oh, and we've got a big pileup. Damon Bradshaw from 15 foot in the air gets off his motorcycle. It looks like he's all right. He's getting up rather slowly, but it looks like he's all right, maybe having the wind knocked out of him. Meanwhile, there's the rider off the starting line getting his bike fired up and ready to go. That's Mike LaRocco, number 10 on the Suzuki. Back to the first corner. Keith McCarty helping Bradshaw off, and there's the other rider that was involved, Kerry Mulligan. Looks like they're all okay. Meanwhile, Rick Johnson, the Magic Man, had taken the number 1 position, but he has trouble. Here comes Matasevich.
Great move to the outside by Matasevich. He'll take the lead, drop Johnson to second, and Jean-Michel Bale is moving up to challenge Johnson.
Oh, we've got a barn burner. We're still in the opening lap of the Seattle Kingdom. Let's go back and take a look at that first corner incident that Bradshaw was involved in.
Big launch by Damon Bradshaw. Contact in the air. He gets offline, comes right on top of Mulligan. Those guys are lucky they didn't get hurt. I think the question is whether Bradshaw may have re-injured that ankle.
Well, let's hope not. It looked like Bradshaw tangled with his teammate, Doug Dubach, in the air. We'll have to get the report on that one a little bit later. Meanwhile, Jeff Matasevich, as he has a couple of times in this series, has taken control. Behind him, Rick Johnson, the Magic Man. But here comes another rookie, Larry Ward. This is his hometown. He's past Bale. He's up to the number 3 position, and he is on the gas.
Matasevich and Ward had a little tangle in the heat race, you remember. Matasevich leading. He's been a front runner all year in this series, but he has not yet developed the consistency that he needs to win races.
Speaking of consistency, if you're Rick Johnson, you have to wonder what's going on. Johnson, the king of the sport just 1 year ago, has had his problems. Meanwhile, Matasevich with no problem. Clear track ahead. He needs to put as much distance now between himself and the rest of the pack as he possibly can. Rick Johnson is busy. He's trying to hold off the charge of Larry Ward and Jean-Michel Bale. So Matasevich could run away at this point.
Glimpse of the 5th place man, number 6 is Ronnie Tishner as they freight train down that set of whoop-de-doos. The man they're trying to catch is Matasevich. He's second ranked in the series standings as he clears the start-finish jump with the king of the sport, Ricky Johnson, on his heels, and the hometown favorite, Larry Ward, closing up.
Now, leading the standings was Jeff Stanton, the defending Supercross champ, but Stanton is back in the pack. He's not a factor. And there, Ward makes the pass on Rick Johnson. Larry Ward has taken over the number 2 position. Ward is going berserk in front of the hometown crowd.
38,000 people going crazy, too. This young man is their hero. He has moved to South Carolina. His stepfather working for one of the motocross tracks there in that part of the country. But they very much consider this young man their hometown hero, and he wants to win this race.
Comes from nearby Snohomish. If you can say that with a mouthful of beans, you've got yourself a talented tongue. Out in front is Matasevich. Larry Ward running second. There goes Jean-Michel Bale. Bale tried to get around Ricky Johnson, his teammate. He was trying to give him plenty of room, and unfortunately, he gave him a little too much room. You can't run outside the bales.
Bale in the bales, right? Matasevich uses that to open up a little bit of an advantage. He's been a 1-2 runner all season long, but this looks like it's going to boil down to a 2-man battle. Ward now has only Matasevich in front of him. Remember the bad blood from the heat race. This could get real interesting.
We go back to the opening round, Anaheim. Matasevich had the lead there after passing Bradshaw, but Bradshaw hung tough. Matasevich appeared to tire. As a matter of fact, when the race was over, he said just that. My arms pumped up. I wasn't able to hold on. Bradshaw made the pass and went on to win. Earlier today in the heat race, something similar happened. Matasevich had a big lead. Larry Ward reeled him in, and Matasevich later said that he tired. But the main event would be different. Let's see what happens as this one unfolds. Meanwhile, Rick Johnson continues to drop off the pace as Ron Tishner has now put the moves on the ex-king of motocross.
Since he broke his wrist a year ago, Rick Johnson has never regained the form that made him the king of this sport. He's surrendered the spotlight to the likes of this youngster, Jeff Matasevich, being pursued by Larry Ward. Here's Tishner up to 3rd now. That's going to drop Johnson back to 4th spot. Tishner's riding a good race.
He's riding extremely well. And though Tishner is not a rookie in the sport, he's really never been one of the more prominent riders. He's coming into his own in 1990. I hate to say it, Dave, but we're back to that same topic of conversation. Rookies and veterans. And right now, the rookies are showing the short way around the track to the veterans.
They've definitely had a great season so far. They've been the headline story. We've had about 2 glimpses of Jeff Stanton, the series champion, all night tonight. We watched Ricky Johnson struggle, and we think back to the days when he won more Supercross races than anybody in history. Broke the record held by Bob Hanna. His wrist still hurts. It works on his head, and Johnson continues to struggle. There's a glimpse of Stanton, and you see he's more than a straightaway behind on bike number 1 as number 20 Matasevich sets sail out front.
Just 1 year ago, Matasevich was riding in the 125cc class and winning the Western region in that class. As a matter of fact, 2 years in a row, he was declared the Western 125cc national champion. Now he's doubled the size of his bike, and it looks to me like he's riding twice as good. We'll be back right after this. Supercross Series, we have a real barn burner. Jeff Matasevich, number 20 out of La Habra Heights, California, is ahead of local favorite Larry Ward. He's been there throughout the race. We asked Matasevich earlier if this is any kind of an indication, he and the rest of the rookies, as to what we can look forward to the rest of the series.
You know, every 5 years or so, it seems like a new generation comes through the sport, and I think it's definitely coming through now. And I think, you know, Damien's won both of them. He's going to be tough. Larry Ward got second. He's going to be tough. There's about 3 or 4 or 5 of us that can win the race, younger guys.
As you pointed out 1 week ago, Dave, the sport of Supercross has been elevated, and the rookies did the elevating. Jeff Matasevich out in front leading Larry Ward. They are putting on a heck of a show for the fans here in Washington.
Well, the Washington folks all pulling for Ward, and he is definitely riding the wave of momentum here. He's got Matasevich clearly in his sight. His lines are a little better than Matasevich's right now, and he's closing in on him. This is going to be a side-by-side battle within a lap or two.
Ironic. Chicken is what they call Jeff Matasevich, and again, I'll never figure that one out. And they've nicknamed Larry Ward because of his size. He's very tall and gangly. They're calling him Big Bird. All over the stadium, as a matter of fact, are signs proclaiming just that. Jeff Matasevich can feel the thunder from Larry Ward. He looks back occasionally and can see Ward coming. That's not a good sign.
Ward has lost a little ground now in that last lap. He got out of shape a couple of times. Doesn't have the traction that Matasevich has. Matasevich's key right now is not to worry about Ward, ride his own race. When he was racing with Bradshaw in the first 2 events of the series, his mind was possessed by Bradshaw. He was thinking about who was behind him. If he'd been in a stock car, they would have said he was mirror driving. Now he needs to forget Larry Ward, go out and win this race on his own.
But one reason Ward is getting out of shape is because Matasevich is in the best lines. Ward is not following. And here we go back to the veterans at this point would watch. They would pick the lines out and look for a pace to pass. But Ward is going all over the racetrack. He's trying to force that move, and he's going to get out of shape because he's riding places that he has not ridden in all night long, looking for that place to pass.
And he's also looking to work on Matasevich's head a little bit. Every time he shows him that wheel, Jeff knows he's there. It's a sight game at this point.
Now Matasevich went to the inside. Ward squirted to the outside. Ward has the drive, and he takes over the number 1 spot. Larry Ward drove to the inside. I don't think Matasevich was looking for him, but he's in a bad position now. Matasevich came to almost a stop. He was trying to block Ward's momentum. Now Ward looks over at Matasevich. He has the inside line. Let's see what he does. He cuts across the front of it. Look at this. Look at this.
That's a cheap shot, Larry. We talked about the block pass where you try to get the guy's line away from him. Matasevich just stopped there and tried to hit him.
Wow.
Ward's not going to like that.
They come down through that set of whoop-de-doo side by side. Now Ward and Matasevich looking at each other. I don't know if they're trying to knock each other off, if they're trying to win races. Look at it. Matasevich off the top of that big jump looks ahead at Ward, and Ward is looking backward. They both should be concentrating on the track, but they're worrying about each other.
Let's go back and take another look at that incident. As you notice here, when Matasevich comes off the berm and cuts back to the inside, right there, he jumped on the brake, and he did that intentionally to try to hit Larry Ward. Had he kept his momentum up, he would have repassed Ward. Instead, he bumped him and then went on. That was a cheap shot, Larry.
Well, in all fairness, Dave, I'd like to go back and take a look at that heat race. Let's set up the pass from the heat race and see what happened there, because Ward was messing with Matasevich back in that heat. Now, here's the heat race. Here they come into that corner, and you'll see Ward put that block pass on him, and, well, it was nothing like what Matasevich did to Ward. I'd have to agree with that.
Well, it's a fine line between a legal, legitimate block pass, Larry, and the kind of incident that we saw here. But I think, in my opinion, Matasevich stepped across the line. I won't say Ward is completely blameless in this episode. They've certainly, as you said, been worrying more about each other than about winning the race. We'll be right back.
Super Challenge Round 4 of the Camel Supercross Series. I'm Larry Myers. With me, Dave Despain. We're in the Seattle Kingdom. The action has really been hot and heavy. Now, we're looking at a battle here for the number 3 position. Jean-Michel Bale, number 22. Ron Tishner, number 6. The two of them have really been pounding each other and this Seattle Kingdom racetrack.
Bale's been working on Tishner lap after lap, trying to set up the pass. Bale out of shape there. Tishner keeps taking away his good lines, Larry. Bale sets some up, Tishner grabs it.
Well, again, it's a matter of not following, but moving to the outside and trying to make a pass. Now, there's a shot of the leader, number 17, Larry Ward from nearby Snohomish, Washington. This crowd is going nuts. There goes Bale under the bridge. Back to Tishner, number 6. He's in 3rd. Jean-Michel Bale in 4, looking for that number 3 position. The points at this stage of the game are critical.
Bale has never won a U.S. Supercross, neither has Larry Ward for that matter. Although, interestingly enough, right after signing with Suzuki, Larry Ward went to Bale's hometown, Paris, France, and won the big Supercross race there, his first ride for the company. Here is Bale, the Frenchman, trying to put the move on the Florida youngster Ronnie Tishner, and that battle's been raging for several laps now.
The other two riders that are up front, Ronnie Tishner and Jeff Matasevich, they have not won an American Supercross. So one of the 4 is going to score a victory out here today. And no matter which one of the 4 does it, the crowd is going to have their money's worth. Bale getting a little bit out of shape coming over the finish line jump, but a perfectly executed block pass. Now, we've looked at that maneuver a couple of times today. There was a good one. Tishner comes. Tishner! Oh, now, there's a debate right there, Dave. Was it good or bad?
Turnabout's fair play. The danger in the block pass is that the other guy is going to be there when you get there, and whoever's got the momentum may come out on top, and Tishner just took the front wheel out from under Bale. Tishner is now 3rd. Bale will fall to 5th.
Let's go back and take another look at that incident under the bridge.
As they come in, you see Bale setting it up on the outside. When Tishner cuts underneath him, they get to the same spot at the same time. But Tishner's rear wheel is stable. Bale's got to steer with the front. And once Tishner took it out from under him, he was on the ground.
The white flag. Larry Ward has 1 lap to go. Now, the home crowd is standing and cheering. Earlier, we talked to Ward about that crowd and whether or not it would be a help or a hindrance.
Yeah, that definitely helps me. A lot of my friends and family are going to be here watching me, and I got a lot to prove. I've been doing real good last couple weekends, and I want to keep going that direction.
And that direction is toward the checkered flag. 38,000 people here in the Kingdom are all standing and cheering for Larry Ward. What a ride, what a victory this is going to be for the hometown favorite.
No stopping him from this point on. He's got Matasevich covered. All he's got to do is avoid that last-minute bobble or mistake, and we are going to see the biggest victory party in the history of the Kingdom.
Well, just one corner ago, though, we saw him look over his shoulder wondering, is Matasevich there? Is he still coming? Are we through with the incidents that we had earlier? We're through with them all right. Fist raised in the air. Look at that. The head thrown back. Pumping his arm. This guy is happy. Larry Ward.